What is something society deems acceptable but shouldn't be? Yeah. The fact that these overbred monstrosities are deemed purebred makes it worse. There's literally zero scientific basis in what makes a dog purebred. It's just a type of dog with a type of feature that some dog lovers really liked back when they made up the term and created shows, contests to pick the best purebred dogs. Same sad face. My mom's a vet and there's so many unfortunate dog breeds. Persian cats are even worse though. Their faces are so flat and heads so small, their brains often squish down towards their spinal cord into their neck. I got to know that there are two kinds, punchface and dollface. From what I've heard, doll-faced ones are better comparative, but yeah, overbreeding is a huge issue. I feel so sad about the punch-faced ones. It would be much worse than Hitler. Imagine if someone forced people to commit incest just because they think your children would look cool. Then after several generations of inbreeding they are left with horribly deformed people that struggle to live. Also along the same vein, obese animals. I'm sick of seeing fat animals and people acting like it's okay. It's literally not, and I work so hard to make sure my animals have a balanced diet and maintain a healthy weight and activity level. Yes, they can be cute, but past a purely shallow look, it's so unhealthy and cruel. This, like a millions times over. My ex's mom gave their dog everything, and I mean everything, including a lot of chocolate. She would be like, "Oh, but he loves these treats and he's so cute." Like, sure, but you're literally killing him. How can you not see this? Because someone will inevitably argue this point. My neighbors growing up had a Great Dane that repeatedly broke her tail because she couldn't stop wagging it in the house. After the third time they decided it was necessary. My brother's Weimaraner didn't have her tail docked, and she'd whack it on things and the skin would split open because it's just skin over bone on them with no extra fur or fat to soften the blow. Then she'd run around the house flinging blood all over the walls and floors. Every now and then we'd come home and walk into an episode of Dexter. And boy did it hurt if you were standing too close and she got excited. The bruises were deep. He finally got it docked though when she hit his son in the eye and he almost lost it. Our family was always like, "No, it's mutilation, it's wrong, how could you?" Which is why my brother didn't have it done in the first place. But, boy howdy, did we change our minds. Cold sweat smile. I saw a guy with a French bulldog all dressed up at the dog park the other day. It was some designer jacket and little shoes for his back feet. The owner was all dressed up too. The poor dog was trying to run around and play, snorting up a storm, gasping, all wobbly because his head was half the size of his body. His little shoes were slipping all over and he couldn't keep up with the other dogs. The owner, course, was hovering to make sure the clothes didn't get dirty. I just thought, what a poor dog and what a shit human. That dog must be so bored and lonely. It's not a fashion symbol, it's a dog. The owner seemed to have so much pride that I thought about saying something, but I just watched and frowned at the little guy. I had a boss ask me why I didn't want to stay late to help get more work done. I said, everything that matters to me happens outside this building, and they didn't know how to reply. Lol. Also, this was the end of a 10-hour overnight shift. I own a company and sometimes work long hours to make it work. That was my choice to take on. I couldn't reasonably ask my staff to work more than their contract, and that's totally fine. Exactly. Guy the first used to work with had his foreman tell him, "We aren't here to line our pockets." One of the best paying but worst to work at places around. Guy was like, "If we aren't, then here's my badge." Foreman regretted it immediately. I once did a 16-hour night shift because one of my co-workers got sick. I came home with my chest pounding so hard, I was having a heart attack. Could not fall asleep. Called the doctor. She said to take a hot shower and try again. It worked. But that was a wake-up call. I said never again. I don't need the money. And to my boss, I am but a number. Haven't worked overtime in 10 years and refuse to do so. I work 8 hours a day 6 days a week. When my shift is 5 to 10 minutes from being over, I'm either getting myself ready to go, or constantly watching the clock trying to finish up work on time. The amount of times my boss says, "Oh, it's okay if you work 5 to 10 minutes past your time. It's not gonna make a difference in the rest of your day." I always respond with the same answer. "I'm here more than I am at home. I'm scheduled 8 hours, that's all I'm working. I refuse to stay any longer than I'm legally scheduled to be here. I'm not staying an extra 5 minutes today, because next week you'll tell me, 'Oh, just stay an extra 15 minutes, oh, just stay another half an hour.'" I may not have much of a life outside of here, but what little of one I have, I'd like to actually enjoy it. I'm a teacher and I came here for this response. Most teaching contracts have a section that says, all other duties as assigned, which is basically the district school saying you can get in trouble if you don't want to do all of the extra work they ask you to do. A short list of the other duties I have been expected to perform that is not direct instruction or grading. Stand outside for 25 minutes every morning to help direct traffic and monitor student arrival. Stand outside for 25 to 45 minutes every afternoon to help direct traffic and monitor student dismissal. Stay after school to supervise students when their bus is late picking them up. Write a weekly newsletter for the school and post it on social media. Attend school sports games to work the ticket and concession stand. Host a weekly club that meets after school. Fill in for teachers who are absent during my state-mandated planning period, and in some cases for the entire day. Supervise school dances. Attend weekly staff meetings. Stay after school to monitor detention students. Supervise breakfast, lunch. This is aside from the many hours a week I spend planning, grading, cleaning, emailing, etc. In addition, teachers who are new to a school system have a multitude of extra trainings that are required, even if they have years of experience prior to their new job. It's insane how people view education, and was so very apparent during the pandemic, but no one seemed to notice. Treated like daycare, and as long as parents' kids aren't getting kicked out and have decent grades, everyone thinks it's fine. No one checks the quality or relevance of the education and leaves teachers to do some things that may seem unethical to save their jobs, like the No Child Left Behind Act, which punished teachers for poor student performance. The result was teachers making it easier for students to get good grades, but lacked thorough education. I think the feeling I get when I help tutor kids and see them excel is one of the most wonderful things I've ever experienced. There's no way this feeling isn't stripped from our educators by legislation and demoralizing conditions. These people chose to help the world through preparing our next generation and are treated like a shitty nanny from everyone. Kids, parents, government. What the fuck? Next time someone says, the world is going to hell, remind them it's because we're not only allowing it, we're aggressively making it so. This doesn't apply to every job, but to piggyback even the concept of being paid to be there for 40 hours to the minute and not being paid to complete an agreed upon amount of tasks, accomplish the acceptable workload. Obviously someone in, say, retail is literally paid to be there to keep the ship running, but there are a lot of situations where you can't just duck out at 4:15 because you're paid till 5. So you sit for 45 minutes, having fulfilled your workload an hour ago. Oh yes, lol. I don't want to work 40 hours. I think that's ridiculous. My job can probably be done in 25 to 30. But I have to sit around at the office and look busy because I don't want other people's work dumped on me. And yes, I always say we should be paid for the job, not for how long we have to sit at the office. When I was in college, I had insurance through the college and I had to get an MRI done on my knee for a torn meniscus, and I'm not joking. When I handed my insurance card to the receptionist, she handed it back to me and said, I'm going to pretend you didn't how this to me. If I put down that you told me you have no insurance, it's only gonna cost $200. If I build this to your insurance, your portion of the cost will be way more than that.